We talk all the time about the latest Tesla news and tips if you are thinking about getting a Model 3. But what's the flip side, especially if you're considering the Model 3 or the Model Y? How do you decide? Well, on this video, we're going to go over the top 5 reasons why you might not want to get the Tesla Model 3. So not a lot of people talk about this. In fact, we like to give you the latest breaking news about Teslas, but what we don't talk about often enough is perhaps why you should not get a certain model, the 3 versus the Y, or whatever happens to be. Every single vehicle does have a downside. So we're going to go over point number 1, why you shouldn't get the Model 3. So let me just say this, I have had my Model 3 for 12 months. I 100% would buy it again. But if you're somebody that has a concern with range, especially with the rear wheel drive, which is Tesla's base model vehicle, the base model Model 3, the range is something you want to think about. So if you're somebody that takes road trips or you have a really long commute, maybe you do things like ride share where you're driving people all the time, full time, or on a side hustle. Maybe that rear wheel drive, which gives you around 270 miles, might not be the best car for you, but here's something that they don't tell you. Something that is not talked about often enough is you're rarely going to get 270 miles. Now that's the estimated 100% charge of your Model 3, but on a daily basis, I get around 225 to 230 miles when I charge to 100%. That is the estimated range. So you're typically going to charge this car, if you get these standard vehicles, the standard range Model 3, it has a new battery. It's called the LFP battery, which can be charged to 100%. But that 270 estimate is really an estimate. You are going to get lower miles than that. I would say around 250 or so on a 100% charge. So just know if you're somebody that takes road trips, you commute a far distance, maybe the Model 3 is not the best vehicle for you. Another red flag, if you will, if you are somebody that needs a lot of space and has a family, and I can just tell you, we are very blessed to have a 1-year-old, and just having him currently and loading him in the vehicle, I can already see that it's kind of a crunch with space in my Model 3 rear wheel drive. So yes, there is the frunk space, which is very unique on electric vehicles because there is no motor. And you also have space underneath the trunk. You have some side components and the rear seats can fold down, good for loading long items. If you need even more space, maybe you haul a lot of gear for your job or your family has a lot of supplies and you go on road trips, like I said, what have you, the Model 3 definitely has less space than, let's say, the Model Y. I don't think a lot of people talk about this as well when we're talking about point number 2 when it comes to the space is the roof height. So my brother has a Model Y Performance Tesla, and I can just tell you when you get in the vehicle, it is wider, it is taller, and as a driver or a passenger, you really feel that as well. There's not really as much space to really get comfortable. Now don't get me wrong, it's a sedan, the Model 3, you kind of know what you're getting into. It's a smaller vehicle. But if you need that space and you like maybe a little extra comfort or headroom, think about another car versus the Model 3. So another reason why the Model 3 might not be the best car for you is point number 3, and I experienced this personally. And here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, unfortunately, we have some harsh winters from time to time, and certain snowy conditions makes a rear-wheel drive, no matter what car it is, especially one with instant torque, a little challenging. If you were unaware, currently the long range and the performance Model Ys are available to order, and shortly the standard range Model Y will be joining that as well. If you live somewhere with inclement weather, it doesn't even have to be snow. If you like more traction in an all-wheel drive vehicle, especially the rear-wheel drive Model 3 might not be the best car. Now the Model 3 does come with all-wheel drive and the long range and the performance, but again, as someone who's owned my Model 3 for 12 months, I made it through the winter. Now the Tesla is very heavy. If you're unaware of this, this is important. It's much, much heavier than a normal sedan just because of the battery pack. Winter tires are recommended, but they come with all-season tires, and because that car is heavier, it really does press into the ground, giving you a secure feeling in the rear-wheel drive, in my opinion. But of course, if you like extra comfort and you want that all-wheel drive, the Model 3 might not be, at least the base model, the best model for you. Let's just take a pause real quick before we talk about point number 4. If you're somebody who is buying or considering a Tesla and you really like the benefits of the zero emissions or the much less emissions versus a traditional gas vehicle, even factoring in the composition and production of a Tesla, it is still over the long run much more friendly for the environment. So that is a huge benefit as well. And the reason I bring that up is because of efficiency. If you want the most efficient battery that has ever been made, you are not going to get that plain and simple in the Model 3. And I don't think anybody talks about this. If you like the friendly environmental results of owning a Tesla, you want to look at the Model Y. That's the only Tesla that's going to have the brand new 4680 battery. And this battery has been tested by very recent owners. You can't order it just yet. It's going to be probably any day now. I'm looking all the time, so make sure to subscribe. We're going to do a ton of videos on that. The standard range Model Y has the most efficient battery in the 4680. If you're somebody that likes the latest and greatest technology, you want the latest upgrades with a Tesla, well, we have seen now in 2022, you're not going to get anything new mostly on the interior. Now, the Model Y has some small changes, but we're talking about the Model 3 here. You're not going to get that battery in the Model 3. If you want the latest technology, the Model 3 may not be the best Tesla for you. So now we get into point number 5, and there's certain things in the Model 3 that you will simply not get unless you're considering a different version of Tesla like the Model Y. And for instance, a cargo cover. Now obviously the sedan, you're gonna have a trunk, it's gonna have a lot less space, but you're not gonna have that larger space and a cargo cover, which comes in the Model Y. So you're basically getting a covered trunk like the Model 3 has, but with more space. You're not going to get that in the Model 3. You're also not going to get more ground clearance. And I can just tell you, when I'm getting out of my Model 3, it's really sharp, it has a really clean lines and aggressive look. But because these Teslas tend to sit lower to the ground, you're really kind of ducking down and getting in and out of the car, which can be a little uncomfortable at times. Now the Model Y sits slightly higher, even though it has a lowered suspension. So my point is, if you want something that's really comfortable to get in and out of, obviously a small SUV like a Model Y would probably be a better fit for you. So let's leave you with this. Now, what are some things that you will be getting in all models of Tesla? Well, that is the over-the-air updates. So don't think just because you're getting the Model 3 versus maybe a Model Y, you're gonna lose out on those software updates. And also all of the choices from colors to interior, white or black seats, those are all the same as well. So if you're unaware, a lot of those fit and finishes, from the color of the dash to the screen itself to the seats and some of those parts, are exactly the same, which allows Tesla to be really agile and pump out these cars to meet the demand. So a lot of those are the same. I don't want you to think that you're going to miss out on software updates or technology or anything that you can get in the Model 3 versus the Model Y. You're really looking at space, you're looking at performance, you're looking at all-wheel drive and some of those details like that cargo cover. So that is what you really want to think about. If you are a family, you need more space, if you take road trips and you want more range, because the Model 3, I have it for 12 months, is an absolutely amazing car. There's really nothing wrong with it, but I did want to talk about the 5 points that you at least want to consider as you're shopping for your first or second Tesla. Is a Model 3 for you? Well, let me know in the comment section below which one you were considering getting, the Model 3 or the Model Y or other versions of Teslas. Again, the only way I know you like this video is of course to drop a like and consider subscribing for more Tesla news and tips. Again, this is Matt from Frunk to Trunk. We will see you in the next video.